I still have hope. I mean, a couple of months ago I was in liver failure, and I'm hopefully back in a place that I can just plough on and look towards at least a short future, or at least tomorrow. Hello, I am Deborah, otherwise known as Bowel Babe, and I write a column for The Sun called Things Cancer Made Me Say, and there's a reason for that. I live with incurable stage 4 bowel cancer, and this is my first I suppose YouTube video, and I thought I'd just share with you a little bit about my story, and in the hope that you will come and read some of my columns, actually in the hope that it might just save your life, because every week we talk about the signs and the symptoms that you need to know about a whole range of different health things, some cancer, some not cancer, but ultimately it's about knowing your body. Now, I am about to celebrate my 40th birthday, and I know that sounds like me announcing my birthday on a big platform, and lots of people might go, I don't really care, Deborah. I care, because 5 years ago, nearly 5 years ago, I can't believe I can say that, I was diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer at the age of 35. So the thing that you need to know about any types of cancer is that you are never too young. And I was told that I had actually more chance of dying in my first year, and that I had less than 8% chance of making it to 5 years, and I probably would never see my 40th birthday. And I certainly wouldn't see my children, who are hanging out in the background somewhere, grow up. And that's really scary. Well, more than scary, it's heartbreaking, in fact. And I did what anybody does in that situation. You don't really know how to get through each day. You don't really know how you're going to put one foot in front of the other, and somehow you do. And somehow days turn into months. I always have hope, and I always have hope that they will be tomorrow. And I'm very grateful that I'm sitting talking to you now. And I hope that you'll join me and read my columns in the build up to a birthday that I never thought I would see. Now, the first thing that I'm always asked is, what are my symptoms, or what were my symptoms? Because, quite frankly, that's what we need to know, because early diagnosis is actually the difference between life and death. And I was a busy working mum of 2, and I think anyone can relate who's just trying to juggle a couple of kids. My kids at the time were 7 and 9, and I was working full time, and you're just kind of like, you think you're just knackered. One of my biggest symptoms was tiredness, and that is one of the red flag symptoms for bowel cancer. I had a change of bowel habits, and for me, it looked like I was going to the poo. I'm going to say that word. I've just said poo. Let's not be embarrassed. We all poo. Brad Pitt poos. Our favourite celebrities poo. I bet they smell as bad as our poos. And I was going to the poo about 8 to 10 times a day. And then, and again, that's one of our red signs to look for. The third thing for me is I started passing blood. Now, this was obviously really scary, but for me, actually, it was a bit of a misconception in that people assume that fresh blood isn't anything to worry about, and actually darker blood is. The reality is any signs of blood, please, please, please go to your GP. The reason I had fresh blood is because my tumour was actually very, very low in my bowel. So that was my third sign. My fourth sign is that essentially I started to lose weight. And I actually thought, I was working out in the gym and I was training, I think at the time, for a marathon. And I thought, you know what, my regime is really good. It transpires that actually my regime was probably just really average, and it was the cancer that was making me lose weight. And that's another sign. And for some people, I didn't actually have this symptom, but for some people, they can have a lump or a bump in their stomach, and that's always something to look out for. I think the bottom line when it comes to bowel cancer is I had a lot of these symptoms, and I put them down to just being tired or just being a busy working mum, and I didn't really get them checked. And by the time I got them checked, we thought it was irritable bowel, we thought it was lots of different things. And it meant that by the time I was diagnosed 6 months later, my cancer was not caught early. It was caught at the late stage. And any cancer, when it's caught late, the chances of survival drop dramatically. Now, Over my next vlogs, I will tell you about the types of treatment, the hope that I get from science, which is just, oh my word, phenomenal. The hope that keeps me alive, because I will say something, I'm living today in a future that I never ever thought possible, and that's because of some brilliant scientists who created some drugs that didn't even exist when I was first diagnosed in 2000, and I can't even remember now, 2016. And I can't believe I can say that. That sounds like a long time ago, doesn't it? And I'm living in a future I never thought possible. I have cancer. I'm back on chemotherapy, and no, I haven't lost my hair. It doesn't mean the chemotherapy is kind, quite frankly. Right now it's hideous. I know you might look at me and go, oh, she looks quite well. But there are two sides to every story, and hopefully if you read my columns, you will see those two sides, whether that's the mental health battle, whether that is the 3 a.m. fear that we all get, whether that is the fear that I don't have a future, whether that is hitting rock bottom and how do you bounce back from that. And it's these cutting edge treatments that have kept me alive step by step, and I still have hope. I mean, a couple of months ago I was in liver failure, and I'm hopefully back in a place that I can just plough on and look towards at least a short future, or at least tomorrow. Ultimately, it's about living with cancer and the challenges that represents. But I hope you will continue to join me and read my columns, which is called Things Cancer Made Me Say, and I will check in with you guys next week.